Shout out to my boyfriend Brad for driving me to the airport at 3 in the morning. What an angel. So once I got there, I grabbed a coffee and did some editing while I waited for the gates to open. I was honestly laughing so hard at this video of me trying on my neck pillow. Don't judge me for having a Pinot Grigio with my breakfast. Was so yummy, honestly I was stuffed. The first flight from London to Dubai was 7 hours, and to be honest I can't remember much of the flight because I was so tired, but I was fed so much I thought I was going to explode. Once I got to Doha airport, I spent about an hour looking for a bookstore or somewhere I could get a cheeky meal deal, but there only seemed to be designer stores, and I swear Doha prides themselves on being the world's bougiest airport. You need to visit this airport at least once in your life because it was honestly incredible. They had an indoor jungle with sleep huts and meditation areas, and since it was Ramadan the week I was there, people were praying everywhere and it was honestly such a calming atmosphere. This video really doesn't do it justice, but I was blown away with how beautiful this airport was. I didn't think airports could be beautiful, but this one definitely is. So once I got on the plane, I was super happy when I realised that the 2 seats next to me were free, so I slept more or less the whole flight. Qatar Airways treats you really, really well. I was literally living the dream. It was kind of weird to wake up and suddenly be on the other side of the world, and just before we landed I could literally see the Sydney Opera House. As you can see on the video, this is the coast of Australia as we were about to land. To give a bit of context, I was born in Sydney, my sister was born in Canberra, my brothers were born in Melbourne and Sydney also, so I lived in Australia for 7 years before moving back to England, and I haven't been back since, so it was so crazy to meet with that side of the family again. And as an adult as well, like everything is different, because obviously as a kid you remember things differently. So once my brother and my dad picked me up from the airport, we went to the hotel and my room was so lovely. My name was on the telly, which I thought was really cute. They also had fancy stuff in the bathrooms with like really nice scents, and because it was Easter there were chocolate eggs everywhere. After we settled into our hotel rooms, my brother took us to see a play directed by some of his mates, which was hilarious. After we went out for Italian food, which was so good. The next morning my dad and I had a huge breakfast at the hotel, and as you can see I was very hungry, and yes, I did eat everything on my plate, don't judge me. Well, plates. Once we refueled we went on a road trip. We went over the Sydney Harbour Bridge 3 times I think. I got to see the Sydney Opera House again, and after a lot of begging my dad agreed to take me to see my old house, my old school and the hospital where I was born. The whole experience was actually mental. I can't really describe it because the best way I can say it is you can only really understand it if you've been through something similar or you've moved around your whole life, and the only way I can describe it is like extreme nostalgia to the point where it's actually like creepy. This house holds so many memories for me, and to be able to see it exactly as it was so cool. The best part of having a military parent is getting to live in some sick properties, as you can see in this video. So weirdly enough, the house was for sale, and no, I can't afford to buy it now. After our little excursion, we went to the centre of Manly to look at the market stalls, and we grabbed some coffee, some dim sum, and yeah, it was a really, really nice afternoon. We also enjoyed some gorgeous views, as you can see here. It was a bit windy, honestly, like it was not, I thought it was really hot, but my dad said it was going to be cold, so I was literally walking around the beach in a jacket and jeans. I was sweating because obviously I'm not used to the hot weather. I saw somebody in a bikini and Uggs, which I thought was quite funny. Anyways, yeah, we went to the supermarket and it was gorgeous, like appreciate this video. Oh, and then I saw this Freddo cake, and if you're Australian you'll understand the nostalgia behind a Freddo ice cream cake. They were at every 6-year-old's birthday party. So when we got to my dad's place, I opened the fridge and realised that we didn't even need to go shopping because he clearly has a food addiction just as much as I do. The level of organisation in his house was actually quite terrifying. It was giving bachelor vibes. The next morning was Easter Sunday, so I made us some festive brekkie and made myself a coffee before I visited my granddad. This day was so busy. We also went to the zoo and all the animals were super friendly and like domesticated, because obviously they're so used to being around people. So I was lucky enough to pet some of them. Here you can see me nearly getting attacked by a llama or an alpaca. I always get the two confused. The koala was clearly on something, because it's rare to see them even move because they're always high on eucalyptus leaves. So to see this one run and jump was really strange. But I mean, it made some good footage, so I ain't complaining. So the only positive to jet lag is that I was literally waking up at 4 every morning, not my choice. My body just was working against me. So I got up early again and I made us a big breakfast, and we went to go and see my aunties and uncle for lunch, which I didn't realise we were going for lunch, so obviously this breakfast was massive. Anyways, after that we drove back to Sydney, which again took quite a while, but my dad took me on another field trip where we visited Paddy Market in Chinatown, we visited the docks, the Naval Museum, multiple art museums, loads of souvenir shops, and we actually found some authentic Aboriginal didgeridoos, which was cool. We also got sushi. So I've put in a clip of one of the Aboriginal performances, and it was really interesting to watch. They got everyone up dancing and it was such a good atmosphere. So for my final night in Australia, my dad and I went for Asian food, which was so yummy, but I was again really jet lagged, so I almost fell asleep in my plate. They just kept bringing out food, like it was lots of little like appetizers. Anyway, I feel like this was very much a food vlog, because before I got on the plane home we had this amazing breakfast at this little cafe we found. That concludes the end of my Australia trip.